The time has come to start using all the tools and the materials that we have seen so far. And as promised, we're going to do it step by step. So in this chapter, we're going to see the painting fundamentals. We're going to start in this video by playing with colors on a canvas, just to get the feeling of the brush running on it. Painting some basic geometric figures, trying to fill the whole support, blending them. See what happens when more or less accidentally we're going to touch other colors and when we start mixing them. We're going to do a lot of mistakes now, because as they say, we learn more from one mistake than from 10 things that we do right. Right now, we don't know anything about painting yet, so if we're going to start representing in our first painting something real, it's probably going to end with us getting depressed. So our target right now is to get the feeling of the painting, making mistakes, and painting a picture as ugly as possible. At the end, if we start from the bottom, we can only go up. From now on, we're going to use them, so it's very important that now we have already got all the necessary tools and materials to follow this course. And in particular, we're going to need some oil paints of different colors and opacities, some medium to thin them down, some taklon or polyamide brushes of different measures and shapes, one or more palettes, or something that we can use to prepare our colors, and some supports. Here we are going to use mainly canvases, but we can really use any of the supports that we have seen so far. The only suggestion is to use the same sizes that we are using here. In this way, it's easier to compare what you do with what I and the rest of the people who has joined our community did. To start, we're going to use 20 by 30 cm supports. We should know already how to prepare our palette, but if we don't, my suggestion is to watch first the video dedicated on how to prepare it. Here, we're going to use some zinc and titanium white, that is very opaque, some lemon yellow, that is transparent, some very opaque Naples yellow, some medium transparent red vermilion and medium green, some transparent primary blue, and some opaque ivory black. We have thinned all the colors down like we should do for painting, with the only exception for the lemon yellow, where we went a little bit more heavy with medium, and the primary blue that we can find in 3 different levels. One as it comes out from the tube, one like we should use it for painting, and one extra thinned. We don't need to use exactly this palette. We can choose different colors, as far as we try to respect the logic behind on the opacity and thinning. To start, the first thing that we're going to do is to see what happens when we try to use the same paint, in this case the primary blue, but thinned in 3 different ways. We're going to start with the thickest, and we can notice immediately that it doesn't really like the canvas very much. It's pretty sticky, and the brush doesn't run. Probably, to do a better job, we should use a much stiffer brush. We're going to try now the medium thinned one, the one that we should use for painting. And we can see that the brush runs on the canvas much better, but still a little bit sticky. And this is actually what we want, because at this point we don't know yet if we're going to change something later when these paints will be dry. So better we keep the color a little bit lean now. As last, we're going to use the very thin blue. And while we are stroking, we can see immediately that the brush runs very smoothly on the canvas, but that the color has become more transparent. Now we're going to mix them, but we need to add some extra thinned one on the lean paint, otherwise we can't work it. And we should keep using our brush all over the area. If we did everything right now, inside the same stain, we should be able to feel the difference between the strokes that we give. Some should be very sticky and some should run smoothly. If we do it from top to bottom, we should feel that the brush should be sticky on the beginning and change to smooth while it goes down, and vice versa. And this is what this exercise is about. It's getting the feeling of when the brush runs correctly and when it doesn't. So my suggestion is that we should spend some time playing on this stain, trying to memorize the feeling. Although after a while the paint should probably become more uniform. When we have completed this test, by using a rounded brush, we're going to paint 3 geometric figures of different colors. In this case, we're going to make a red triangle first. Then we're going to paint a yellow circle below. And at the end, on the right, we're going to paint a green square. As we can see, they didn't come out really well, and mostly I was keep doing mistakes. This happened for 2 reasons. The first is because we didn't have a sketch to follow, and the second is because we have picked the wrong brush. The rounded has a quite long bristles that are not really easy to control. To follow specific paths, like for example geometric figures, we should use a brush with short bristles, like for example a bright, that it's much easier to control. We're going to continue this discussion in the next video. Now we're going to start to fill the empty space around those figures. We don't have to be very precise. This exercise is to see what happens when we try to join 2 or more colored areas in a not proper way. And what we should notice is that as soon as we touch another color, we're going to bring it inside the area we are painting. To complete our first experience with brushes and colors, we're going to blend our paints directly on the canvas. So, we're going to paint an area with one color, and then we're going to mix it with another just to see what happens. For example, here I want to try to make this Naples yellow lighter by mixing it with some zinc and titanium white. Now, using the same brush without cleaning it, we're going to start painting this area. We're going to add some extra white to make it lighter, and then to see the contrast, we're going to blend it with some ivory black. At the end, we're going to add some primary blue. Once finished, we're going to cover this area with some red. Also in this case, trying to make the connection with the blue above. Our target is to don't leave any canvas unpainted. And unfortunately, we get these dark lines here right on the border. Now, we're going to mix the red with some blue first. Then we try to see what happens when we mix it with some Naples yellow. And bit by bit, playing with all the colors that we have on our palette, we're going to fill the whole canvas. For example, we're going to make some dots in this area, but really we should do whatever we feel we want to do. As we said, this isn't about painting, but about getting confidence with colors, brushes, and canvases. It's just about getting the feeling of the painting without thinking, am I doing right or wrong? There is no wrong. Now that our canvas is complete, to achieve our target and make the ugliest painting, we're going to mix all the colors. Just to get the feeling and see what happens. And at the end, to make my already ugly painting uglier, I'm gonna paint some area like this. And I'm also going to make some dots. our first experience with brushes, colors, and support is not complete. And we won the first prize for making the ugliest painting, and we should be ready to move on. But if we want, before we go on, we can decide to do this exercise again and again until we have a good feeling of what we're doing. In the next video, we're going to start introducing some bonds when we're going to start following our first sketch. We're going to see how to paint uniform areas and how to join them in a proper way. If you enjoyed this video, we will really appreciate if you could click on like and subscribe to our channel. It will also help us very much if you could leave a comment. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one.